From Australia, this is the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on WIA.org.au.
In case you weren't sure, it is the national news from VK1WIA for week commencing October 18, 2020. In this week's national news, Felix will look at VI100WIA, VK65 PFA and VI75 WW2. Special interest group news with Col VK3 GTV and in the text edition the official JOTA frequencies for WIA and VK plus worldwide. Victor Kilo 2 Lima Alpha Whiskey and Jason checks out a £1 million donation to the birthplace of our computer world by none other than Facebook. And I'm Graham, VK4BB, presenting the news. Plus, directors, WIA directors joining us, Lee Moyle, the Vice President, VK3GK, and Scott Williams, VK3KJ. And next week, WIA President himself is scheduled to make an appearance. So, stay tuned. But now to Kangaroo Valley and VK3KJ.
Hi there, this is WIA Director Scott Williams, VK3KJ, and it's my pleasure to appear on today's broadcast on behalf of the WIA Board. It is wonderful to see that the next edition of the AR magazine is in circulation already. I have just received my copy and no doubt it'll be in your mailbox soon. Don't forget to access an electronic version of the magazine. Please log on to the WIA website with your membership credentials and you can download a copy for early reading. Thank you once again to Roger and the PubCom team for getting out the latest edition so quickly. The WIA Board of Directors continue to meet on a regular basis to discuss many items that relate to the improvement of the hobby. In this month's meeting, conducted last Tuesday, the 13th of October, the Board discussed the various WIA committees, their scope of activity, and some of the tasks that will be before the committees in the near future. In particular, the Education Committee was discussed with a view to reconstitute and refresh this committee given that it's not met for a considerable period of time. The Board resolved that this committee will be re-established and as such is calling for nominations via an expression of interest process of interested WIA members. If you would like to nominate to join the Education Committee, please forward your expression of interest to the National Office, Attention, Education Committee, expression of interest at the following email address, nationaloffice@wia.org.au. Please include a short statement of no more than 500 words setting out your experience and suitability to participate on this committee. On behalf of the Board, we would like to thank the previous Education Committee and the support you have provided to the WIA over the many years. That's it for me this week. Stay safe and well, and my very best regards, Scott, VK3KJ.
Hi, I am Lee Moyle, VK3GK. ACMA have revised the Foundation Amateur Radio syllabus. As advised by ACMA in their July e-bulletin, they have revised the process for updating the amateur radio syllabus to remove the requirement that the syllabus review panel must approve changes. ACMA have now advised the Australian Maritime College, AMC, of changes to the Foundation syllabus and requested they ensure the amateur radio examinations they conduct, including by its accredited assessors, are based on the revised Foundation syllabus. The changes relate to removing historical restrictions on Foundation licensees from the Radio Communications Licence Conditions Amateur Licence Determination 2015 and some editorial changes. The revised syllabus is available on the AMC website. Future changes to the syllabus will be undertaken through the ACMA's usual consultation process with the broader amateur community. ACMA will let us know when this happens. Transfer of call sign forms. To give amateurs more options and flexibility in managing call signs, licensees can now transfer their call sign to another licensee by completing ACMA's online call sign transfer form. The application needs to be completed and signed by both parties before it is lodged with the ACMA. Delays in qualification and call sign processing. We are all very much aware of the delays in processing applications for amateur radio qualifications and call signs. These have been caused by a surge in applications for new call signs following recent changes to the call sign template, as well as COVID pandemic-related resourcing constraints. The source of these delays is temporary, and the AMC will soon revert to normal processing timeframes. Get your licensing notices emailed. Email ACMA at info@acma.gov.au and let them know your email address. This way you'll get your notices faster and reduce paper waste. Also, your questions answered. ACMA often get questions about whether a licensee has to wait for the Register of Radio Communications Licenses, RRL, to reflect their licence has been granted before they can start operating an amateur station. Well, the answer is no. The RRL is not updated immediately, so as long as you have a receipt of payment, you are authorised to operate an amateur station under the LCD. 7-3s, this is Lee, VK3GK, WIA Vice President for WIA News.
Jamboree on the Air, JOTA, the world's largest and Radio Scout event promoting friendship and global citizenship, is taking place over this weekend, 16 to 18 October. There are, of course, a few difficulties this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the event is on air now, often with creative ways of operating. Here in VK, our Australian Governor-General and Chief Scout opened the event.
Hello from Government House in Canberra. JOTA, being held online and over the radio, is particularly relevant this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I hope that you and your families and friends have been keeping well during this period. I want to congratulate the event organisers for your determination and perseverance in overcoming the challenges of staging an online event. For many in our Scouting family, it is the safest and most practical way for us to get together. At the heart of JOTA 2020 is friendship and global citizenship. More than 2 million Scouts from 150 countries are participating this year, so a special Aussie g'day to all the international Scouts. Over the course of the coming days, there will be no shortage of learning opportunities, including dialogues, games, talent shows and challenges. It's going to be an action-packed couple of days. There is a serious meaning as to why we are all Scouts, though. We want to create a better world. It's during times like these that we as Scouts rise to the challenge and display the strength, leadership and community support that we're renowned for. That's why I'm still a Scout, well into my 60s. I want to make a positive difference to the world and to my community. And I love being on that journey with people like you. So go well, everyone.
With many young Scouters tuned today, it's befitting we take an extract from Q News where VK4ZPP Jeff Emery has some words worth taking on board.
We need to understand more of what is enthralling to the generation of the internet and the mobile devices. For the technologically savvy young person, there should be a welcome entry into a technological pursuit such as amateur radio. The different developments which span such a universe of knowledge in science and technology can engross the mind that is exploring and learning, assimilating what the world has to offer. From satellites and the associated astrophysics and astronomy to the subterranean pursuits of long-wave ground propagation, with the earth sciences and electronic technology, the engagement of amateur radio goes and spreads. We can take our devices and engage them with other articles and develop skills in coding and searching out minute pieces of information. We can talk around the globe with and without using the internet, and we can bounce signals back to Earth from the moon. There is so much more that goes with amateur radio, such as friendships that last and last, and we may never get to meet in person. And if we do travel, there are friendly faces who will welcome us along the way because of this hobby. We can be makers and developers, or just the relaxed hobbyist. We can be students and use the knowledge from our hobby to become professional. We can take part in safety networks, and we can exercise in radio sport, hone our operating skills in contesting, or challenge ourselves to gain certificates and awards. With all this at our fingertips, how do we get that person with the sparkle in the eye to become a participant? How do we reach out the hand of friendship and tell someone how great we find this pursuit? How do you, who is interested in science and technology, get to meet us, find a mentor, and get to enjoy the same glow of satisfaction of the hundreds and thousands of radio amateurs around the world? Today the world may seem more closed down than it should be because of the epidemic restrictions. Today radio amateurs are communicating in so many ways, free of those restrictions, because we use the same radio waves that bring the internet and our family and friends' voices to our mobile phones. Today radio amateurs are relaxing and chatting, challenging themselves with new skills, and today you can join with us too.
This is the home service of the Wireless Institute of Australia through VK1WIA. Now, international news with Jason, VK2LAW.
Hello, and first up to the ITU. The ITU has made the Radio Regulations 2020 available as a free download. The ITU radio regulations facilitate equitable access to and rational use of the natural resources of the radio frequency spectrum and geostationary satellite orbits. They also ensure the availability of the frequencies provided for distress and safety purposes, and assist in the prevention and resolution of cases of harmful interference between the radio services and different administrations. Further, the regulations facilitate the efficient and effective operation of all radio communication services and, where necessary, regulate new applications of radio communication technology. To Japan now, contact between Japanese ham radio experience stations. What is believed to be Japan's first contact between two unlicensed people using amateur radio took place October 11 between experience stations 8 Juliet 1 Yankee Alpha Bravo/1 and 8 Juliet 3 Yankee Alpha Alpha/3. The specially licensed experience stations aim to give the general public a chance to experience the fun of amateur radio. To Europe now. In Belgium suspends ham radio exams. The communication regulator in Belgium, BIPT, has announced that because of the current COVID-19 situation, the safety of candidates and BIPT staff in the examination rooms can no longer be guaranteed. National Amateur Radio Society UBA reports that as a result, all exams have been temporarily suspended. UBA says that BIPT will notify them as soon as exams resume. Anyone who's already registered for an exam and has already paid for it will be able to re-register at no additional cost at the resumption and will receive priority at that time. In the United Kingdom, giving back to the birthplace of the computer. The modern world has been shaped by what happened inside an English country house more than 8 decades ago. It's no exaggeration to say that at Bletchley Park, the era of the computer was born by figuring out how to crack the Nazis' secret communications. They did it by building the world's first programmable digital computer and laying the foundations of modern computer science. Ideas developed at Bletchley Park remain at the heart of cutting-edge research in fields like artificial intelligence, online security, and cryptography today. Today, Bletchley Park is one of the UK's national treasures, open to people from across the world who want to witness the place where so much of modern computer science was born. But like too many of our favourite places, it's been hit hard by a drop in visitors and revenue this year, pushing it toward difficult decisions about its future. Now to its rescue comes Facebook. Facebook has provided £1 million in support to help keep Bletchley Park open to the world. The park's most brilliant scientist, Alan Turing, still inspires Facebook's tens of thousands of engineers and research scientists today, and is foundational to the entire field of computing, which has and will continue to shape the lives of billions of people. A mural of Alan Turing, made out of dominoes, takes pride of place at Facebook's headquarters in California. Short-term restricted service licences. Application window has just closed for the 2021 period of high demand. Ofcom will grant successful applicants a short-term restricted service licence to broadcast between the 9th of April and the 14th of May 2021 inclusive, an anticipated period of high demand that also includes Ramadan. Short-term radio licences are granted in the UK for analogue services broadcasting to defined regions, or for coverage of events such as music or religious festivals or sporting events. In the USA, sale of amateur radio AMPRnet TCIP addresses raised $108 million. The president of Amateur Radio Digital Communications, ARDC, has announced they received $108 million from Amazon for 4 million amateur radio TCP/IP addresses. Since its allocation to amateur radio in the mid-1980s, Internet Network 44, that is 44.0.0.0/8, known as AMPRnet, has been used by amateur radio operators to conduct scientific research and to experiment with digital communications over radio with the goal of advancing the state-of-the-art of amateur radio networking and to educate amateur radio operators in these techniques. In mid-2019, a block of approximately 4 million AMPRnet IP addresses out of the 16 million available was sold to Amazon by ARDC, but it's only now that the sale price has been released. Amazon paid $27 for each IPv4 address. For WIA National News in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
Now, operational news with Felix, VK4FUQ.
Ham Radio Operational News. It's Contact Sport. 2020. Next weekend it's the CQ-WIA DX-SSB contest, October 24-25. CQ-WIA DX-CW, November 28-29. Spring VHF-UHF Field Days, November 27-28. December 6-8, 160 metres worldwide. December 14-15, 10 metres worldwide. DX Window, Australia. With the special call, VK amateur radio operators are marking an accomplishment that takes on special meaning in these pandemic times, the eradication of the polio virus throughout Africa. The World Health Organization declared Africa to be polio-free as of August 25th. Lee Moyle, Vice President of the Wireless Institute of Australia, said that activation will begin on the 24th of October, marking World Polio Day. The special event station, VK65 PFA, will continue until the 24th of November. For Lee, this takes on special significance because he is also a member of Rotary International, which has given high priority to the campaign to wipe out polio. Rotary members who are also amateur radio operators are also invited to join RAW, Rotarians of Amateur Radio. Meanwhile, visit the QRZ page of VK65 PFA for operating and QSL details. Members of the Wireless Institute of Australia are QRV with special call VI110WIA until the end of 2020 to celebrate our 110th anniversary. In fact, the world's oldest amateur radio society. Activities on the HF bands and QSL is via LOTW. Botswana. Leon A25SL is usually QRV on 20 metres SSB around 1700 to 1830 Zulu, QSL via N4GNR. Austria. Members of the VIC Amateur Radio Contest are QRV with special call sign 4U75A from Vienna until December 31 to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the United Nations. Activities on the 80, 40, 20 and 15 metres using CW and SSB, QSL via UA3DX. Many special events marking the 75th anniversary of the United Nations are slated, including in the United States, where members of the United Nations Amateur Radio Club are in the year as 4U75UN to celebrate the opening of the General Assembly and UN 75th anniversary. The operation is being done remotely. Denmark. Special event station OZ100MILL is QRV to December 15 to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the unification in 1920 of southern Jutland with Denmark. Activities on all HF bands using CW, SSB, RTTY and other digital modes. QSL via Bureau. Activities F4HJO/portable from Behow Island until October 24. SSB on the 80, 40 and 20 and 17 metre bands. QSL via Logbook of the World or via his home call, F4HJO, direct or via the Bureau. Take, JG8NQJ is back at the weather station on Miami Torishima until mid-January 2021. Take will operate CW as JG8NQJ/JD1, QSL G8NQJ via the Bureau. Netherlands. With the passing of Edward Lodewijk van Halen, legendary guitarist of the band Van Halen, October 6, 2020, a special tribute event station will be on air as PA5150VVH between October 28th and at least January 31st, 2021, a few days after Eddie's birthday. The numbers 5150 refer to the different moments in Van Halen's history, including Eddie's recording studio, guitars, and their first album with lead singer Sammy Hagar. QSL via PF1SCT by the Bureau, and there will be a limited number of special QSL cards, but QSL only via the Bureau. For more details and a video, see qrz.com. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4WIA Winningham.
From Australia, this is the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. Available on RF and on demand 24/7 from the WIA.org.au website.
Intruder Watch Enforcement Zone and Steve VK3ZAZ dropped us a feedback note this week advising us of QRM on satellite A07. The note for all 432 ops. Oscar 7 has come back to life after 39 years. Its uplink 432.150 lower sideband plus or minus. On several passes lately, chats on 432.150 upper sideband from East Coast VK ops have drifted through QSOs on A07. Please be aware the bird can't QSY, but you can. And that from Steve, VK3ZAZ. At the Q News Workbench, the Nuts and Bolts report where we measure twice and cut once, hopefully. Researchers claim limitless low-voltage power source. Hams who operate portable and even those who don't are always in search of the perfect power source. Researchers are too. And Kevin Trotman, N5PRE from Amateur Radio Newsline, tells us about some findings from scientists in Arkansas.
Physicists at the University of Arkansas have created a circuit that they say can harvest the thermal motion inside graphene, an electrically conductive form of elemental carbon, and it turns into low-voltage electrical current to power sensors or small devices. They also say the power is clean and limitless. They created a circuit by using two diodes to convert AC to DC. The pulsing DC current performs work on a load resistor. The researchers claim the diodes have a symbiotic relationship with the graphene and increase the circuit's power. They believe that this project has proven that graphene's thermal motion at room temperature induces an alternating current in a circuit, an achievement that some physicists have said is not possible. I'm Kevin Trotman, N5PRE.
Now, special interest group news with Cole, VK3GTV.
Hello, and first up, it's Final Frontier. Neutron 1 has successfully launched as part of an International Space Station resupply mission from NASA's facility in Virginia. The small satellite involved more than 100 University of Hawaii students, faculty, staff and volunteers, and will measure neutrons in space and radiation coming from the Sun. Neutron 1 carries an FM repeater with a downlink on 435.300 MHz and an uplink of 145.840 MHz. Rocket Lab CEO warns of space junk. In 1978, NASA scientist Donald Kessler warned of a potential catastrophic cascading chain reaction in outer space. Today, known as the Kessler syndrome, the theory posited that space above Earth could one day become so crowded, so polluted with both active satellites and the detritus of space explorations past, that it could render future space endeavours more difficult, if not impossible. Last week, the CEO of Rocket Lab, a launch startup, said the company is already beginning to experience the effect of growing congestion in outer space. You can read the complete story at the link we like in this week's text edition of the broadcast on WIA.org.au. Worldwide Special Interest Groups IOTA, AN015. Members and operators of the Japanese Antarctic Research Expedition Team, JARE, continue to be active as 8J1RL from Showa Research Station, Queen Maud Land, until January 2021. Activity has been on various HF bands using CW and the digital modes, with most activity on 40, 30 and 17 metres, using mainly FT8 with some CW. QSL via JG2 MLI or the JARL Bureau. Special Interest Groups, Lowdown. Historic Grimeton transmitter to broadcast for United Nations Day. On United Nations Day, the 24th of October, the SAQ Very Low Frequency transmitter in Grimeton, Sweden, will again send out a message. Start-up and tuning of the Alexanderson alternator will be from 1430 UTC, and the message will be transmitted from SAQ on 17.2 kHz CW at 1500 UTC. Live streaming can be seen on YouTube. Worldwide Special Interest Groups Rescue Radio. At the recently held IARU Region 3 meeting, they called for a Region 3 SET, Simulated Emergency Test, which should be set up as soon as possible to practice domestic and international emergency communications. The details will be announced on the Region 3 website and sent to every society once all necessary documents are completed. I'm Cole, VK3GTV, and I'll have more Worldwide Special Interest Group news next week.
This is VK1WIA. All points of contacts from today's news stories are to be found in print when you read the web editions, www.wia.org.au.
Tying the ribbon, we look at the social scene for 2020. Next weekend, Miena QSO Muster happens October 24 in VK7, and at the Nambour Showground in VK4, October 24, Sunfest at 10 a.m. But you must go online and purchase your entry tickets due to COVID-19 regulations. In VK4, it's the Rockhampton Amateur Radio Club's annual dinner, Saturday, November 28, the TARC Christmas Party, Sunday the 13th of December, and the TARC Christmas Lights Tour, all in VK4, Friday, 18th of December. In 2021, it's the TARC Australia Day Long Week Family Radio Camp, the Thursday afternoon the 21st to Tuesday afternoon the 26th of January 2021. Wyong Field Day, February 28 in VK2. Alara Meet 2021 in Bendigo in VK3, October 1 through 4. And in VK7, the Biennial Hamfest, Miena Community Hall. Now, until next we meet, this is Graham, VK4BB. Please walk softly.
From Australia, this has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on WIA.org.au.